Meantime, Macy's, Abercrombie Fitch, and Capri Holdings, Dick's Sporting Goods, all reporting results this morning. Join us right now with more on what the numbers are saying about the health of the consumer. Manny Chirico is the LNK partner in BCI Brands chairman. He's also board of Dick's Sporting Goods. Well, you're there at Dick's. By the way, we got to talk about Foot Locker at some point. But Manny, what do you think's really happening with the consumer at this point?
I think the consumer continues to be healthy. She's spending, but there's a dichotomy going on as they look out into the future. There's a real level of uncertainty around the discussion, the chaos that's going on in Washington around tariffs, around taxes, around this inflation story. And what my real concern is that's reflecting itself in the way retailers and related wholesale companies are buying inventory for the second half of the year. There's a general sense that things are going to be tighter in the second half of the year. And my concern is that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy as we go forward.
In terms of that dichotomy, how quickly does it sort of manifest? And is that by a fourth quarter? I mean, you think we'll actually feel it?
I think you'll start to feel it. If it's going to happen, I think you're going to feel it in the back-to-school selling season. That's really the first time you're going to see you'll start to see the tariffs impact starting to come through with back-to-school, starting in the third quarter of this year. I think what you're going to see is prices increasing. I think the retailers and the wholesale apparel companies will eat a portion of that, but will also pass it on. And I think the smarter companies are the ones that don't talk about it in a significant way. But I think we'll see second half prices on goods increasing, particularly on discretionary items like apparel, like footwear, where there's really no recourse except to raise prices as you go forward. And I think that continues as we go into 2026. So I don't think it's a one-shot inflation problem. If these tariffs are here to stay, even if it's just the 10%, I think that's going to continue into 2026 for the full year. So I think that pressure will be on the consumer.
Is there anybody who is less exposed, do you think?
I think the way the tariffs are working, anyone that has a significant sourcing goods from overseas is...
But that's everybody. I'm saying, is there somebody that you say to yourself is like a dark horse? We don't know that they actually have done a better job of somehow...
I think there's companies that are really just executing the hell out of the business. I think Abercrombie & Fitch is doing an amazing job. They continue to perform. They continue to get fresh merchandise on the floor that really appeals to that consumer. I think Dick's Sporting Goods has continued to really execute as we go forward. And I think the value guys, Costco, Walmart, TJX, those companies will continue to perform. I think the department stores will be under significant pressure, margin pressure in the second half of the year. You saw Macy's met their first quarter results, slightly beat them, but took the second half down. I think specialty apparel and other specialty retailers will also be under pressure in the second half of the year, coming from margin more than sales.
Can you, I don't know how much you can speak as a board member, but tell us about the Foot Locker deal, because I think people have looked at that. I know you're going to keep it separate. What was the impetus to do that?
Well, listen, I don't speak for the company. I'm on the board of Dick's. They're having their conference call as we speak right now. Strategically, I would just say that it opens up the urban consumer to Dick's Sporting Goods and that management team, and I think they'll execute the hell out of that transaction going forward to get the margins in the Foot Locker business back to historical levels, which have been 700 or 800 basis points below historical levels. So that's the strategy, but I think you should hear that from the management team, not from one of their directors.